Hello and welcome, people of the internet and programming enthusiasts. Today we are going to be discussing PDB, also known as the Python debugger. We've all been in a situation where something is not quite working right, so you start spamming print statements everywhere, trying to figure out why something isn't happening or changing. I'm here to tell you that there's a much better way than that. And no, this is not going to replace print statements for debugging purposes, but will definitely streamline your debugging. As usual, I will be showing a practical and real-world scenario so we can fully understand and demonstrate the capabilities of PDB. Let's set up a scenario. We will say we have a CSV file of transactions that we need to read from, and the totals themselves are not quite adding up. There is an intentional bug in this code, and I'll show how PDB can help us identify it. You can either just copy and paste the code from the GitHub link if you plan on following along, or pause the video to look at it. In this code, we have two primary functions, read transactions and calculate total. We also have a main function that's our entry point. It seems simple. We use the CSV module, which is part of the Python standard library, to read transactions from a CSV file and calculate a sum of all transactions. However, when we run this, we see there is an issue. Value error, could not convert string to float. For the sake of this demonstration, we will assume that we do not have access to this CSV to look at directly. We know where the error is thanks to the exception. Now we can introduce PDB into the equation. Traditionally, you would do the import of PDB and the debugger function call together so that your linter can detect when it is not removed. Let's give that a try. We import the PDB module itself, and then we call the function that activates the interactive debugger using setTrace. Once we call setTrace, all execution is paused at that point and an interactive debugger is opened. Let's run it and see what happens in the terminal. We now see where the execution has been paused and the next line of code that is about to be executed. We also see this PDB text in parentheses, which is where we can enter commands. If we enter the letter L and press return, we can see the code surrounding the area where we placed our setTrace function. This would just be a few lines of code before and after the current position, which is useful when debugging. If we enter the letter N, we can execute the next line of code and pause execution once again. Now we can see the previous line was executed and we've moved forward in the code. If we use the letter S, we can step into a function call to see how it is being evaluated. We can see that we now entered the process amount function, which we can do some further debugging on if we wanted. Entering C simply continues execution until we reach a breakpoint, which we will discuss in a bit. And finally Q, which just exits the debugger itself. If we run it again, I'll show you how we can access variables and arguments of any kind without needing to add print statements everywhere. Adding PDB inside this for loop can give us a clue as to why this exception is being raised. Let's see all the transactions firstly by simply entering the name of the variable you wish to see. So we will enter transactions to display a list of the transactions we retrieved from the CSV file. If we output the variable transaction, we can see the current transaction being iterated over. This first transaction being iterated over does not look suspicious, so let's continue execution with n. Now we can see our print statement with the transaction. When we enter n again, we see the call to process amount. Entering n once again moves to our total calculation. If we output this total, we see it is now 19.99 since it added that amount of that transaction to the total. Now we have returned back to our for loop. If we output this transaction, we see a different transaction, that being the second item in our list of transactions. We'll hit C to skip ahead until our next pause. Notice how execution flows straight to the next item in the loop. When we evaluate this transaction, it now shows an amount of null. Let's go to our next line and step into that process amount function using the S command. If we output our amount string argument that was passed to it, we can see that the amount is null. We have now identified our culprit, a null string disguising itself as a valid value. Now let's see how we can identify a potential solution while inside PDB. We know that the function is expecting a float string and wants to convert that string to a float. Given that it is receiving an empty string, we can test a potential fix. Let's see if a simple check in PDB will work. We can write an inline if statement to check if amount is null and turn it into 0. Now let's call the amount string and see what the output is. Now it is 0, so we know that this potential fix is valid, and we can then add this fix to our code outside of PDB. We can use Q to exit PDB. When we run it and continue through our code, we can see the fix worked, but there is now another error. Could not convert string to float. Let's run it again, step into that function and try another potential fix. Let's continue through the first few transactions, which we know will now be handled appropriately until we get to the problematic transaction. Now we see the transaction with the empty string as an amount. Let's step into that function and output the amount string. We can see that it is empty. Let's try a simple fix. Check if the amount string is either null or just empty. Now if we output amount string, it should be 0, and indeed it is. We can use the Q command to exit and then apply this fix to our code outside PDB. And run it again. We can keep continuing until execution is complete, and we can see our finalized total. Our defect has now been fixed. Our manager is no longer dealing with angry emails, and we can go back to watching our YouTube shorts while we pretend our job is difficult and stressful. But there is another approach we can take, this time using breakpoints. Let's move our PDB statements to the main function and run the code. Let's set a breakpoint at line 22 for this example. We can do this using the B command followed by a line number. We can now continue from this point, and each time execution reaches this point, it will stop. We can see we have now reached line 22 inside the calculate total function. So that's PDB in a nutshell. Ideally, it is best used for inspecting data inside your code, isolating issues, and testing changes on the fly. To summarize, L shows surrounding code, N next line, C continue until breakpoint or execution stops, B set a breakpoint, S step into function call, Q quit. Unfortunately, that's all for now. Thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, remember to like and subscribe. As usual, I will leave a GitHub link in the description if you want to have a look at the code yourself. Next time you try to debug something, give PDB a try. Until next time, take care and goodbye.